everyone. Thank you for coming. This is taraleelive, and I am joined tonight by an amazing guest panel. I'm so excited to have everybody here. We actually have an Australian coming in tonight. It's just going to be an Aussie feed tonight. But before we introduce them, let's get to one of my awesome guests. Hi, Liv, for today. How are you? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, Tara Lee. Hi. I'm High Live for today. I'm in Quebec, in the Montreal area, so I'm a little bilingual. So if we have any French guests out there that want to say something, I can understand. I'm a cannabis survivor. I'm a cancer survivor who uses cannabis to help with her aches and pains. And I also have lots of arthritis and stuff. And I've recently started growing. I'm still really new at that, so I'm learning there. And I met all these wonderful people here that are going to be joining us on YouTube, through YouTube and through Hangouts. And just the cannabis community has just embraced me, and I'm just so grateful. And I pass it off to you, JR Token.
Hello, everyone. I'm JR Token with Cannabis and the Dude Grow Show. I'm in the Portland, Oregon area. It's the end of the season. The rains came a little bit early for everyone, so it was a mad scramble to get things finished up. But we did have a great season for indoor growers. This summer was a dream. And I'm really excited to be here on the panel, and I can't wait for tonight's show.
Hey everyone, I'm Dan. I'm a filmmaker and cannabis advocate, and yeah, I like weed, and I like weed and the community that surrounds it, and I'd like to expose that. And so part of that is it was one of our guests on the show tonight. Captain Turp is an Australian friend of mine and an Australian viewer, part of the Australian or the worldwide cannabis community. Cap, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do? Take it away, baby.
Oh, hi guys. It's great to be here, and thanks for welcoming me. I feel treated, and I feel honoured. I was a long time ago. Well, I say a long time ago. It's 5 years ago now. A friend of mine called me and said, "What do you know about growing weed?" And I said, "More than I should admit to a police officer." He said, "That's the best answer. You need to come and sit down and talk to me." And he asked if I would be interested in being involved in Australia's first medicinal cannabis company. And I said, "You're talking about legal?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "If you know something I don't, tell me now." And he said, "Well, I'm going to start the first cannabis company in Australia." So I jumped in and said, "I'm here with both feet." And basically over the next 3 years, I spent probably overall about 7 or 8 months all up in the US, between Denver and California, Nevada, and a little bit over in Seattle. I spent a lot of time learning in professional cultivation facilities, learning what medicinal cannabis and recreational cannabis cultivation looked like at a serious production commercial level, and was one of the first Australians to actually get a chance to see that. So excellent. I was given the opportunity to move forward with that right up to the point where we did get the license, and basically, as often happens in people in similar positions to me, we're a little bit too much like kryptonite because of our plant knowledge and experience. So it's handed off to people in with lab coats and pieces of paper with no idea for the moment. And it's funny, the company I helped start, they've been licensed for 3 years now, and still have got a lot of patients that still in this country have got nowhere near the access they need. They're not being provided what they need to get access to, what they need to get a hold of. They don't provide options here, and it's so behind that. And it's funny, yesterday morning we got was it morning, Dan, or was it afternoon? We got an announcement that Canberra, the state that holds the equivalent of our Washington DC, the equivalent of our DC,
our state capital,
state capital, the Australian Capital Territory, where Canberra is, they decided to, they voted yesterday to go recreational, allowing adults to possess up to 50 grams in 2 plants, which I thought was a bit arbitrary.
Okay, wait, 50 grams and 2 plants?
Yeah, I thought that was a bit arbitrary, not understanding, what the 2 numbers could mean. I just thought that's been devised by people who actually don't understand cannabis.
And that's for just that state capital area then, right?
Yeah,
They just did that?
it doesn't account for much in the way of population. There's probably, I actually don't know the population of Canberra, but I know most of it is politicians and businesses that support them and surrounding communities. It's not a large area, but it's being the capital territory. It's the equivalent of DC going legal. So if the capital is going legal, there's a chance that the other states will follow fairly soon.
Very cool. Very, very
I have
cool.
a
So
I have a
that
question.
just happened last night?
Yesterday for us.
Yesterday
Basically,
for you.
less than 24 hours ago.
In the future for us.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I have,
JR.
I have a question. When it comes to the 2 plants that you're allowed to grow, you put them in your backyard and each one yields about 6 ounces each. What do they recommend you do with all that surplus cannabis?
Well, that's exactly why I believe they haven't really looked into the numbers and what they mean. And these have been devised by people who actually don't know about cannabis, because one plant can be grown to yield, well, as we've all seen, somewhere in the vicinity, if 10 to 15 pounds for the green monsters in Mendocino. Essentially, we don't get the opportunity in much of Australia to have a growing season like that. But growing a 1 to 2 pound plant is not unrealistic at all. And if 50 grams is the allowable limit, well, basically, are you forcing me to pop auto flowers and make sure I don't grow more than 50 grams? Or is there a middle ground where they say, they haven't stated whether there's any differentiation between mature and immature plants or flowering and non-flowering? They're just saying 2 plants.
The problem is this is all very, very new. And when things are new and no one knows anything, this is something you might not have known, Kat, and I'll tell you. You're not allowed hydroponic grown pot with this bill. I bet you didn't see that. It took me a little bit of reading to find that. So they think that hydro and bush are still these 2 different types of weed, and it's not. It's like you can grow just as powerful pot without hydro and bottled nutrients. So that's also really weird. I don't understand. I mean, I understand what their reasoning was. It's illogical. It's based on the fact that anything grown with hydro is, I don't know what, more dangerous, more, I don't know. It's just, but it's, I think it's quite, it's early stages. It's probably not gonna mean anything positive for the rest of the country, because that's what they do in the ACT. The ACT is Australia's capital territory, right? And our capital, Canberra, is in that state. And they legalize porn and euthanasia. I don't know about that, but they legalize it. It's like a test bed for all these bills that they pass. They don't necessarily ever seed through to the other states. What it does say is that there's people in this country that have finally accepted that most of us, or a lot of us, smoke pot. That's all I see this as. Nothing specific. I'm not worried about nitpicking any of that law, because it's going to change within. But I promise you, by the time it gets implemented, it'll be different. It'll change. You'll have to. Someone's got to read that with half a brain.
I think the first thing that's going to happen personally is Queensland's going to jump after ACT, but they've been talking about turning full recreational for probably about 18 months now. And they threw that out there not long after the medicinal bill it had been introduced, but they were still getting screaming out from hundreds and thousands of patients and recreational users who basically don't want to be considered criminals anymore. And the Queensland, or a lot of the Queensland politicians, were along with them and said, we're with you. We don't believe it should be anymore. We'd like to make that change. They're seeing the benefits in states and territories over in the US and around the world that have legalized, and the sky hasn't fallen in. That's the simple one.
There's
what would you?
bit of evidence from Canuck, everyone. He smoked some hydro once and fucking died. He just said.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Canuck just told us all in chat. He smoked a bit of hydro once. Fucking killed him.
Man, that was some serious hydro then.
Some
Sorry,
very killer shit. My question was about local law enforcement. I mean, really, a lot of what it has to do with in your area is how the local law enforcement and the prosecutors feel about the subject. Is it different from one area to the next, like it is here in the States, or are things pretty much nationwide?
It pretty much varies state to state. You don't have differentiations like of jurisdiction within a state. A state is governed by its own set of laws. There's no inter-county bylaws that would override state law.
And our cops aren't necessarily gung ho.
No, look, they hopefully, and this is my understanding and my belief, is that what they're looking to stamp out is the rampant syndicate organized crime cultivation, which is the problem because they're stealing the power, they're growing with poison, and all they're doing is turning it into money to feed other criminal markets. And essentially, if you were to thwart that, people have the opportunity to cultivate enough for themselves and their own little communities to decentralize that market and take their power away, like the first thing that Colorado was able to do by allowing home grows and setting up recreational outlets.
Just letting everyone know, it's 5 minutes to 4:20. So
hey, thank you. Yes. Hey, thank you for saying that, Dan. It's almost 5 minutes till 4:20. And I want to say thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. We kind of just jumped right on into our show. And this is kind of how I want to handle things from here on out. I just want to let everybody know every time we have a guest, I just want to jump right on into them because I really respect their time. And I really want to get right to knowing them. And that's the point of having them on here. So for future reference, you guys, please, thank you. Welcome, everybody. I'll try and have a little bit more information about who our guest is on tonight. It's Captain Turp. He's with us from Australia. Thanks for Dan. Dan's the man. And I think he should change his name to Dan the Man, but whatever. Hey, for hooking us up to get this guest. And we also have another Australia guest coming in tomorrow night. So, hey, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. And go ahead, Dan, if you got more questions. What do we got going on?
Well, no, just everyone. We got, what is it, 4 minutes now?
Like, yeah, we got 4 minutes.
Do you want
to go ahead and do like a shout out to the chat and who's here and show them some love? Do we have any questions?
Yeah.
Them yet? What do we got?
Yeah, Tara, kick off the. I want to know. I asked it. We did
have a question early on. We had a question real early on, and that wasn't what we were going to talk about tonight, and it was mildew. I saw something about mildew.
Someone asked. Yeah, okay, someone asked.
Go ahead.
Somebody asked if we were having any trouble with mildew. I personally haven't had any problems with mildew, but I've got a very small grow, and I was out there looking today because we do have some pretty damp weather, and it's all looking pretty good. Anyone else have mildew?
Knock on wood. No.
No, the reason that I don't have to deal with powdery mildew anymore is because I stopped taking cuts in. When I went to seed hunting and pheno hunting my own, I really noticed that I didn't have problem with bugs and I didn't have problems with powdery mildew. So I would say that most of the time when people get PM in their garden, especially an indoor garden, that garden is usually infected by a plant that has been brought in that hasn't been quarantined and dealt with. So I guess the answer to that is no, I have not had any PM issues.
But can a vegetable or can a flower or something you have in your yard bring it in? Like you could rub up against it? Like do we need to be aware of that?
No, the PM that you see like on your zucchini or your squash, that PM is not the same type of PM that infects cannabis. There's very specific types of PM that will infect a cannabis plant. And like I said, most of the time it's spread from one gift to another. Hey, buddy, here, have this. You're going to love it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. But you know what? Damn it, I'll take another fucking clone in. You know I'm gonna. So you know what? We just need to learn how to deal with these things. We all need to learn how to deal with bugs. We all just need to learn how to deal with the shit because you're just gonna get it. You can't throw it all out and start over every fucking time. You gotta learn how to deal with this stuff.
Well,
So,
I'll give you next year, Tara. I'll give you cuts from my garden, and then you won't have to worry about it.
hey, I would love that. But you know what? I honestly, I think that I have russets in our area. I honestly do. I just think that's just something you're going to have just a plethora of predatory bugs in there and create an environment for them predatories that they want to stick
30
around.
seconds. 30
Yeah.
seconds.
30 seconds. Tap time. Load it up. Got an email.
Hey, that was a good filler.
That was a good filler. Awesome subject, guys. How's everybody doing tonight? Anybody smoking on something new? I finally have my super lemon haze. I finally did all my pressing, which I need to do more. Cheers! Nope, it's not. I don't see 420 yet. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. Oh well, we'll go early. Cheers.
Holy crap, we have 30 people watching. I just got an outer boner. That's awesome.
So, Captain Turp, tell us more about what you do and how people can reach out to find you.
Well, in a world of prohibition over here, I've got to be kind of careful with that. I've got to find green light channels like my friend Dan there, and basically wait for someone to put their hand up, and we take the risk in this country of being caught out. But you know, if we're reaching out with the right energy, hopefully you find the right people. And so far, through the DGC and through your app, man, Cannabis, we've been able to connect a lot of people, and well, we're building a community in Australia, and I'd like to think we're building it strong for the right reasons and for the long haul.
That's awesome, man. And to hear that you're using the cannabis over there, you know, that's so cool to know how safe that is, that you guys feel to use that, and to know that it's created just for the cannabis community. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, look, we've really been enjoying. I'm trying to get as many people as I've been in contact with on Instagram over to it. It seems to be slow sometimes, and then every couple of weeks we get a few more users on at a time, and hopefully through in their own social networks verbally, they're able to build it up, because it is a great space for it, because it's friendly for cannabis cultivation, for consumption, for processing, for sharing the knowledge, because we've all got some knowledge, we've all got some passion, we've all got a thirst for it. So anywhere we can share that openly is just, it's fantastic for the plant. It's what should be happening.
Well, we want to provide a platform for people to be able to build their own community. And I think, you know, the more that we bring in our own little bubble of community, that bubble gets shared. And then we create a bigger bubble. And then we have more power amongst our numbers, and we can move in different ways. I think Rasta Jeff is someone who's really shown that example very well. He's got a strong community that he's built on Cannabis. He has his own chat area that he has on Cannabis. So, you know, I really appreciate people like that taking the opportunity to jump on board and just start building their community. And you know, for me, it's all about growers love. You know, I want everyone learning how to grow to have a resource where they can go and get their questions answered. You throw up a picture and you say, hey, what's going on? I can almost guarantee you that 5 people are going to respond to you with an educated answer, and you're going to know what the fuck you're dealing with.
I have to interrupt you on that one, because that was the key word right there. Correct answer. 5 people with almost the correct answer or thereabout. Because if you're on Instagram right now and you throw that shit up, you get fucking A to Z people pulling shit out of their ass. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous. And some of the stuff on that Instagram's getting just, I don't know, vulgar. Like, I'm just kind of tired of everybody wanting to call out one another. Like, I mean, I'm just like, let's remember that we need to realize that we live in glass houses, you know? Let's look at within. Let's look at ourselves before we start poking at other people. It's just, I don't know.
I think especially because we all have our own journey in this cannabis experience. And we all come from different places, and we all have different things that we've been told up to this point about cannabis. And some of it is old baggage that we have to deal with it, and some of it is new revelations in learning knowledge that we didn't have previously when we were being lied to. So I think the opportunity for us to get out there and start spreading the word and getting people involved and educate people, it's going to build our community even stronger.
Just for the record, someone asked a question, very important Australian question. Did a dingo eat our baby? And the answer is always yes. Yes. Dingoes eat babies all the time. It's one of the highest ways that children get eaten by dingoes is getting eaten by a dingo.
Okay, so is a dingo kind of like
It's a wild dog.
a hyena thingy, right?
It's a wild dog.
It's a wild dog. It
It's a
looks
wild dog.
it looks very much like a domestic dog, but it's wild.
Oh, they really look like a regular dog. Like I wouldn't know it.
They look friendly.
Oh.
Well, it looks
Until
like,
it bites your face off.
until it eats your
Really?
baby.
Yeah,
See,
until
I
it eats your
told
baby.
you, Australia's dangerous. Why the fuck would I want to go to Australia, man?
They're not dangerous. They're little cute dogs.
No, but you guys,
You're a
guys,
dingo, Dan. It's the spiders and the snakes and the
yeah, your guys'
alligators.
spiders and snakes are on another fucking level over there.
Yeah, but it's we grow up with it. It's
Yeah,
you
must be
learn
right.
a healthy awareness of your
Respect.
surroundings.
A
Yeah,
healthy
respect
respect.
for
Yeah.
nature.
I bet.
Yeah,
As,
that's
as opposed to what America offers, fucking school shootings, heart disease, fucking crack and heroin epidemics. Fuck me.
No, it's opioids. Come on, get it right. Come on.
Yeah, it
don't
is
worry.
opioids.
Yeah,
Don't
Get it
worry,
right.
it's coming to a town near you. Don't worry.
Oh, they're already here.
Yeah.
My little straight edge brother got hooked on them after 2 broken shoulder reconstructions, and yeah, he says to me, "Are all drugs this hard to get off?" And I looked at him and said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Oh, I've got to get off this endone." And I said, "Dude, you're jonesing. You need to get off it. It's now. You're on heroin." And he said, "What do you mean?" He didn't realize that the painkillers they were giving him were essentially heroin. He got really sick. It took him 6 months to get off them. And it's just another example of what doctors don't want you to know because they're profiting off it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely, they're profiting off of it. All those pharmaceutical companies that push to the doctors with incentives. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a crying shame. Until some big pharmacy guy's child gets hooked on something and dies, and even then, it has to be like the president.
But they're
Let's
dying
move
on it every week.
Yeah, but
From a medical,
nobody important enough to make anybody care.
Oh, no.
It's the drug
Nobody
addicts.
important enough, just the sad teenagers,
Yeah,
the homeless
yeah.
people.
Yeah, exactly. They
Yeah.
don't care about those people. So what?
No.
They're dying. They're cleaning themselves up off the street.
and the pharmaceutical industry has created a trap. There's not really anything out there that they can give you when you have surgery that is effective for the pain as opioids. There's nothing out there that they can give you that'll work as well, especially for coming out of a heavy surgery where you've had things sliced open, And so I think that's the trap that we're in right now, is that we can't have people go into the medical system without coming out junkies. And I'm telling you, when you get dope sick, it's fucking the worst thing ever. You feel like you're flu sick, you're shitting and you're puking, but at the same time, you feel like you're going crazy in your own head. It is one of the worst kind of sicknesses ever. It's terrible.
I've seen a lot of people go through it. It is really horrible to watch. It destroys the body from the inside out, from the top to the bottom.
That just sounds horrible. I'm so sorry to hear about all that stuff. Oh my gosh.
But on a
Wow.
lighter note, on a positive note, right? I mean, my approach was to take the pain into my own hands. And one of the reasons, I mean, Cap, maybe you can talk about it. Cap gave me this cannabis cream, and my teeth, man, for some reason, after my surgery, just in case everyone doesn't know, I've had massive shoulder surgery at a bit, well, not that long, big shoulder surgeries a couple of weeks ago. And I had to take pain pills, and I wasn't doing it. I was just not doing it. So I've been grinding apparently as well with the pain. So I've got pain in my teeth and my shoulder, but I've just been intermittently using Cap's fucking cannabis cream. And as you can see, Cap, definitely been using the tincture for my teeth because that's been driving me insane. So with this, I will use that whole vial. I'll do it now, and I'll put it onto the teeth. I'll leave it in there as long as I can into my mouth, and just let it sit there without swallowing it, so it can, get into all of the crevices into my teeth. And the cream I use every single time I have a hot shower. I put this cream on. And if I have to, I'll take Panadol, but I won't take their opium. I just won't. I refuse to.
Man, I'm honored. I feel
Tell us about the cream.
I
Tell us
humbled,
about-
man. I've tried to create something that people can use to help themselves and to help their life. It was a matter of people reached out to me because of my position where I was before being handed off, so to speak. And basically it was a matter of, there are hundreds of people reaching out for medicine in any form they could get. And based on my first trip to Denver, where I saw what was being sold in the recreational and the medicinal stores, as far as all the different forms and all the different preparations of cannabis being not just a flower, not just a brownie, everything under the sun, oral sprays, transdermal pens, bath salts, massage oils, balms, moisturizers. And it was a matter of, okay, cannabis seems to be able to do a lot of heavy lifting in pretty much any form you can get it to, where you can apply it to the body. And after having grown up, in a family that gardens and cooks, I've never been too far from a kitchen, so I'm not scared of trying to concoct things. And looking at a few homemade recipes online, I decided to get some raw product ingredients and start to having a play. I looked at a lot of research sites or research forums and communities, and did as much reading as I could before I started trialing things, and basically started handing things out to see if anything worked. And lo and behold, everything worked, but it was a matter of, I just needed to work out how best to formulate things and how to get them into a pleasing, stable, usable form. So it's been a bit of a journey and a lot of experimentation, but it's been really enjoyable. And every time I meet someone new, that sometimes I'm challenged to come up with something new. But I believe I'm on this eternal quest for cannabis and for what it can do for people's lives, and I just can't help myself.
Can you talk a little bit about your tincture?
How does that taste?
Is it a vegetable base?
I base that in it's a vegetable glycerin. I just infuse flour directly into the vegetable glycerin for. I usually do 2 passes, which means I do half the infusion volume for about 2 to 3 hours at 90 degrees. And then I press that out and I do another run or do the other half of volume of glycerin through the same flour. And then I decarboxylate that in oil. I'd use a hot oil bath. I do all my infusions raw. So I keep all my products that I use for for medicinal products, I keep cold from harvest. I keep dry and cold until processing. And then basically I process it all raw to preserve as many terps as possible, to preserve the original plant profile. And only after it's infused do I then take it up to 135, 140 degrees for the decarb process. And that retains so much more of the original plant profile in the actual product, whether it be coconut oil or olive oil or butter or cocoa butter. It brings the original plant profile across which seems to be, for the right plant, it's a brilliant flavor profile for the medicine.
Wow, that sounds amazing. You ship to Canada?
Oh, it's
I
fun.
do better than that. I do much better than that. I will share these methods and recipes with anyone who wants to do it, anyone who wants to know and wants to try themselves.
Are you serious?
I
That
haven't
would be awesome.
I haven't invented anything. I've merely researched, trial, and come up with a set of parameters and processes that work for what I'm doing. But I by no means hold them as IP. I share everything because it's too important to share. It's too valuable for one person to own this. It's
That, that is exactly the attitude that I'm looking for. And that's wonderful. I agree with you 100%. I don't think that we should be withholding. I think we had sort of had this conversation sometime, or we had started a conversation about if someone owns a genetic and if that has anything to do with this.
Yes, you're right. But keep going with what you were saying. Hi, go ahead. Continue. Go ahead. Share a little bit.
Yeah, like does someone have the right to own a plant? Like, okay, they did all the crossing and all this and that, but the plant is still, a plant. Roses.
Not only
Exactly,
that,
but oh,
they
go ahead.
they didn't do all the crossing. The crossing has been happening for centuries
Exactly.
and centuries.
Exactly.
And so for people to try to put ownership on that, it's tough. I mean,
Yeah.
some guys put in a lot of work, and it take a long time to develop this variety.
Yeah.
And so what rights to that variety do they have? That's the thing we got to talk about. And the other thing is that's what the push for autoflowers are in the market, because it's a product that they can just easily, give you seeds and never have to worry about, wanting the exact same thing again. So it's a very predictable thing. You usually don't get males because you're going to get feminized autoflowers. And so then that's going to take away the idea of you having those male genetics. Speaking of, when you have those male genetics, you have the opportunity to breed with anything that you come across. And so when you create a market that's feminized autoflowers out of convenience, you take away people's ability to breed. And I think that's going to be a problem or something that needs to be addressed in the future as well.
Yeah, you're exactly right. 100%. And back to what Hai was saying earlier, how this is exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for people like Captain that are willing to share. And that was kind of more what I was talking about, Hai.
Yep.
To go back to talking about the creams. This
yes.
is why we're here. This is why, and I remind every single person that is on my panel here tonight, every single one of us came to YouTube and met YouTube through YouTube because of cannabis and because we were here looking for information on how to grow, how to make our medicine, how to do anything. And now we're creating this amazing community. And if you guys are just willing to reach out, I'm going to leave a channel open tonight. I'm going to invite you on here if you'd like to come hang out with us on after the live. We're also going to have a Halloween party. We've got some community stuff. We really want to reach out and try and build this community up more. And I really, the biggest reason is because the medical patients are getting left behind. And this is so important. Like, we have Captain on here and you guys saying that you're willing to share these recipes. This is exactly what we need to do. We all need to get together. We need to get over to Cannabis, share the recipes over there. We know we can over there. We know they're not going to get taken down. Think about it.
Fact.
So go ahead, Captain.
Yep.
Tell us more about your creams if you want. Or Hai, did you have more to say about that?
No, I just think for me, because I know a lot of people who would benefit from creams and such. However, I'm not I don't really have any good recipes, but if I knew someone who had a true and tried, recipe, I could make creams for these people who don't want to consume cannabis by
But look,
That's
smoking.
exactly what I do it for.
Can I be
Yeah.
honest though, in my evaluation of where the pain has been relieved, is that I haven't experienced the teeth pain is not relieved, as far as I can tell, immediately anywhere near as effective as 2 Panadols and 2 Nurofen. So I don't know what the equivalent is for Americans of what that is, but it's just like the standard, what's Tylenol, like whatever paracetamol products you guys have. Just having 1 or 2 of those, that seems to be the best thing to relieve my teeth pain.
It's acetaminophen.
So why I use the cream is for the scar tissue, which the doctors looked quite shocked at seeing how quickly that did heal. And obviously, like I've had minimal, if any, pain in my actual shoulder. Well, if I don't move, which is pretty impossible, but forgetting that, like I dare say, like I should be in a lot more pain than I'm actually in. I've only had maybe 3 excruciating days, and whereas I expected weeks of it. And I'm consuming the clarified butter. Is that correct, Cap?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I made the clarified butter that you were kind enough to give me, and I made it into a banana cake.
You sure did.
Yep.
Did you taste that?
There was many more pieces on that plate before the show started. And so
Edible.
yeah.
Go ahead, Dan.
Well, I just want to be clear in that I get worried the way that we jump on the cannabis bandwagon, right? And it's like, it's going to heal everything. No, it's probably not. It's probably only got one or two things it's going to do for you, if you're lucky. So I just want to always stress, although I'm an advocate for the plant and using it, I still have yet, like, I wish I could have said, yes, I put the drops in and bang, instantly I had no teeth pain. I didn't get that. But I'm in an extreme situation too. This isn't a little bit of teeth pain. And I think it's also related to my shoulder because they screwed in one of the tendons, right?
Oh, yeah.
They've screwed that into the bone.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, so I just want to, but what I do believe the plant does, regardless of who you are, is it does affect your endocannabinoid system. It does bring your body back to homeostasis. On a whole, I believe that ingesting cannabis in every way that I've mentioned that Cap has provided, with the cream, with the tincture, with the clarified butter, these things are what I believe should be taken when you are in a position or unwell like I am, or after surgery. As the father of modern day medicine, the ancient Greek Hippocrates said, let thy food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food, right? Well, if cannabis makes you eat and you're stupid enough to go and eat a bunch of processed sugars, well, that's wrong. What I've discovered is I'm eating so much all the time, and I'm eating good foods. I'm eating lots of fats, lots of animal fats, and all healthy food. And I'm just doing that. And I thought, wow, isn't it interesting? Maybe that's part of the healing process of cannabis as well, is to force you to eat, to force you to just give yourself all this good energy, like your plants. When your plants are sick, sometimes you give them a bit of food, bang, they prop right up, So, sorry, I just wanted to state that because I just left that open and made out as if it was relieving my teeth pain. I can't get relief from that teeth pain. That's unfortunately quite a big issue. Strangely enough, out of all the bullshit that I've been through, my teeth are giving dramas.
Dan, I think in your situation, the edibles are going to be your best friend. I think the heaviest doses of RSO that you could tolerate are going to be very helpful to get you through the situation. Do you have access to RSO?
Kind of,
Yeah.
So, like, not really.
Well, like,
Well, we just didn't go there.
Do they actually know? But hopefully, yes, he can somewhere. Okay, there you go.
Well, yeah. What the answer I think that was misunderstood there is I just hadn't provided him any. We hadn't discussed that. We hadn't gone that far. I thought we'll start with edibles, and I'll give him some butter so he can make his own cakes and biscuits and stuff, and the tincture would help. But as far as the RSO, I didn't think, well, I didn't even offer it up as an option, but look, it's here.
Somebody's going to be going, all right,
I would, I would,
sign me
I
up.
would, I would start at about a half a gram a day and see how you tolerate that. And if you can tolerate a half a gram of RSO, then start moving yourself up to a gram of RSO. That's what I take. It will knock you the fuck out. You will have no problem sleeping. And I always take it about 2 hours before I intend on going to bed. But yeah, I highly recommend you do some RSO. I think it would do a lot more for you sedatively than just trying to get fat on a bunch of tasty edibles. Not that banana cake is not delicious.
Well, I do have the option for him of a 1-to-1 RSO, which is equal parts THC and CBD, which I would think probably as a daytime med would be your go-to. Initially, the CBD, for starters, is going to mitigate a lot of the psychoactivity from the THC. So if you're tacking it, as in applying it straight to the gums orally, basically you won't metabolize into 11 THC hydroxy, which is the edible version of THC once it's passed through the liver, which I think it's important for us to understand on a milligram per milligram basis. The THC that we absorb straight into our bloodstream via the gums enters our brain as THC and antagonizes our CB1 receptors in our brain to a certain extent. When we ingest and metabolize edible cannabis via our liver, it is then metabolized into 11 THC hydroxy, which is a much more powerful cannabinoid when it hits the brain. So therefore, milligram per milligram, the ingested or the edible cannabis is much more psychoactive than the absorbed cannabis. So if psychoactivity is an issue, I'd always stick to a higher dose of RSO and TAC straight to the gums, which bypasses the liver. So it doesn't become as psychoactive for its milligram weight.
Which basically they call that sublingual, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because there's a lot of like I'm very familiar with that because there's like for estrogen and like other type of natural homeopath type of things, they do a lot of the sublingual, and that's kind of what we call it here in the States. So I don't know what you guys call it over there. That's why I was just kind of summoning that up.
Here's the other problem with the like I can't say that the tincture isn't working either, because sometimes my teeth pain will like dissipate and die down. It's the weirdest thing. This is why I think it might be related to the friggin' shoulder, because the dentist. Anyway, the teeth thing has got me. I do all this in my sleep, and my teeth are fucking hurting. Like I just feel like the weirdest human being.
Yeah, you're crazy, but I do want to bring up. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, are you grinding your teeth at night? Because sometimes that's what causes you pain.
Yeah, so I've organized for a mouth
So you need a guard. You need a mouth guard.
Yeah.
I've got it all sorted, but it's still a weird thing. I just don't understand why that's the side effect. It's like, I just feel like telling my body to go fuck itself.
In pain.
That's
That thing. Okay. Let's look all the old westerns, right? Don't they have a thing they ride on a stick? When they're gonna hurt somebody, bite on a stick. Isn't that supposed to help? That's why you do it, because it does something, right? It's got endorphins. What does it do? It's got to release something, right?
It's usually when you're tense, when you're in pain. Everything tenses up and you bite down. Because I know I found myself doing that where I bit through my cheek once.
Dan is the most dangerous sleeper in the world. I mean, this guy goes to sleep and shit happens.
Wakes up with a broken shoulder.
Hey, so let's bring up what our chat's been talking about. We got Zorro PB. He's been bringing up some interesting information. Dan, you want to talk about that?
Zorro.
The watercress. Yeah, man. So like with the watercress, Zorro's mentioned. I think was it Zorro mentioned? Yeah. So there's as far as I can remember in my research for eating good natural foods, the more gelatinous a substance, it seems to be a source of really high nutrition, especially for your joints and where you have those same sort of gelatinous areas in your body, right? So like aloe vera, extremely gelatinous substance and extremely important. Chia seeds, when you soak them, they get gelatinous and extremely important to absorb a lot of toxins. Glucosamine, a lot of these things. Watercress is another one. Watercress is gelatinous. Watercress is like a succulent. So I've been eating a lot of these things. Like I'm on it. Yeah, Zorro. I mean, this is the. I don't understand. I must. This is a birth defect, by the way. My shoulders. I'm defected from birth. I think that means that. Like, do I get a sticker? Do I get a? Do I have a different fucking pronoun?
Are you an alien?
Your parents didn't take you back within the 30 days?
But yeah, shit, I lost train of thought. Fuck us. Oh yeah.
Oh my god, that was funny. Hi. Oh my god.
So, and fats, animal fats. I've been eating. I don't do. Sorry, go, Kat.
I was just going to say, I think the edibles might be working.
Yeah.
Well, if he greens out, and we totally lose
Oh my
him.
god.
I was gonna say I've been seeing him eat this cake or something over there, and that's what the banana bread is. And then I saw him take drops earlier, and I was like, "Oh yeah, he's doing good, doing good." Hey, welcome everybody. Hey, thanks for everybody hanging out tonight. We have an amazing chat hanging out with us tonight, and I really appreciate it. And for those of you that haven't already subscribed, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell, because if you don't hit that bell, you don't get the notifications. Don't forget. I hate saying that, but sorry guys, it's commercial. I have to do it. I got to build this channel so we can get better guests on, and we can have awesome people and keep growing this community, and we can just keep getting amazing people and keep connecting. And I just really feel like we've got a really good group.
We've got 42 people.
I love you guys. Yes, I love all of you.
There's 42 people. 41. Who the fuck left? Some asshole just left.
Awesome audience. Look at them. We love you all. Thank you all for being here tonight. It's awesome. Hi, Stony. You just got here. Hi, Gruesome. How are you doing? What's up? Everybody's participating. Love you guys. Sam Heads, how you doing? I think I need another dab. And hey, can we talk? Should we talk about the seeds? Should we talk about the seeds that we got?
We should talk about Halloween coming up.
Yeah, do it. Go, Jay.
Go ahead, Jay.
Okay, so we got some genetics to give away. So what we're going to have you do is you got to watch us live and on Halloween, and we're going to give you a password. And if you direct message me in Cannabis with that password, you win the seeds. The first 4 people to message me will get the seeds. We got some homegrown natural wonders, Quantum Kush from OD Diesel. These were handed to me personally by the breeder, OD Diesel. Great stuff. We've got Crockett. We've got, it's called Cherry Springer. It's a cherry pie crosset from Crockett Family Farms. We've got Dungeon Vault Genetics, False Teeth. This is a really good cross. This is the Candyland by his Grandpa's Breath. And that Grandpa's Breath is a derivative of working with kin at Granddaddy Purple. So there's some really excellent genetics in this false teeth here. And then we got this Toast Brulee from Raw Genetics. And it's basically a back cross of his burnt toast to the French toast male that he has. And so that's basically a very OG leaning genetics. Good stuff in here. So all 4 of these packs are going to be given away on Halloween night. So stay tuned, folks.
Fucking awesome,
that's
dude.
awesome. So
holy titties. Sorry, go high.
So everyone start thinking now and start working on a costume, because we're gonna have best
right
costume, most.
We're giving one of these away, guys. We're giving one of these away right here.
And we're giving one away in Canada as well.
In Canada, yes, one in the United States and one in Canada, guys.
Yep.
Is there anything we could give away here in Australia?
We
Uh,
We can give away Dan.
yeah,
We
we'll
could
give away Dan.
No,
Dan,
fuck that.
Dano,
Hey, that's not very cool.
A date with Dan.
A date with Dan.
A date with Dan.
Date with Dan.
You already told them what happens when when they sleep with me. You could break their arm and shit.
You don't have to sleep with her. Just have a date.
You have to. You have to sleep with her.
Oh, you do? Yeah, I don't know. I'm the older generation, right? I'm the old bag of the group here. Kind of like that
That's
title.
awesome.
I'm going to embrace that title.
Hey, tomorrow, guys, at the same time, we've got another Australian show. It's Australia Week, man, because we fucking legalized in our capital state, in our capital, Canberra. So we're having an Aussie theme this week. And tomorrow we've got Captain Turb on today, and tomorrow we've got Herbalize, the dude from the Herbalize podcast, and he's an Australian podcast, and he's going to be on talking some shit with us about the legalization and his podcast. But for now, fucking, I don't know, what are we doing now? Don't leave me. Everyone's muted. I'm scared. Someone help me.
Oh, whatever. I'm having kombucha tonight, by the way. You know what? I love kombucha. If y'all haven't tried kombucha, I think it's a very healthful drink. And tonight I am having this hum. And this one is like hops. It's called hops and grapefruit. And I would have never normally bought it because it said hops, and I don't like hops. But my husband bought it for me, and now I really like it. So I buy it all the time. I really like it, and I think it's really, really, really healthy. Go ahead, Hi.
I have something to say. So
Go ahead.
it happened. What I was thinking was going to happen. So Stony Baker, MD, you are the winner of absolutely nothing, but you're the winner because you're the only person who mentioned Raggedy Ann in the window in the back here. I was wondering how long it was going to take for someone to say something about Raggedy. So you have no prize other than
ding ding ding. I'm trying to look for something to hit. It's gonna ding 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 ding.
There you go.
Sorry, it was
that was so painful.
Are you afraid? Are you afraid of my Raggedy Ann? He is. He's afraid of my. This Raggedy Ann has a story, and this Raggedy Ann came with Raggedy Andy. I never had a Raggedy Ann doll as a child, and I guess I don't know. As later in my late teen years, I must have mentioned something to my parents about never having received a Raggedy Ann doll, being the terrible parents that they were, which is so not true. They were wonderful parents. Anyway, I get married in 1976. My last Christmas, December 1975. Oh, here, I'll even show it to you. My parents gave me a cedar chest, which is right here. This is a cedar chest. It's got you can sit on it. It opens up. It's made of cedar. And inside, you put all they're old school, right? I got married in 1976. I opened it up Christmas morning. They had this thing hidden in the house. I opened it up Christmas morning, opened the lid, and there's Raggedy Ann and Andy in the bottom. And so they said, you can't say that we never got you a Raggedy Ann doll. We also got you the Andy. But I don't know what happened to Andy. He ran away. He left her. He said, I'm done with you. Or maybe she kicked him out. I don't know. But she's all that's left.
My guess is he went to the kitchen. He has a butcher knife, and he's right around the corner. And you should look out.
And you guys giving me shit for going down fucking rabbit holes.
Okay, now that's a setup for a perfect costume right there. Someone could come in as Andy with the knife through his head. That would be hilarious. Yeah, no, actually, someone in chat actually said, and what happened to Andy? I just said we probably don't want to know.
Yeah, Andy and Ann got divorced, and
he's with her husband.
Oh my God.
Okay. All right. So how about back to our guest tonight? That was all fun and crazy. So Cap, so recipes earlier and wanting to share those. And like, what about maybe we just post like a recipe online and everybody go to Cannabis
Well,
and
let's
get it
get
rather than,
yeah,
or
let
do we talk a little bit more into it now? What do you want to do? Go ahead.
get everyone to follow him on Cannabis.
Yeah, let's go over to Cannabis.
Yeah, follow me on Cannabis, Captain Terp.
There we go.
I've been sharing a few things here and there where I've recently been doing some new chocolate and a few other bits and pieces. So yeah, I'm more than happy to share what I do with people, because I know the cannabis plant is all you need, and everything else you've already got around you in most cases, and it's all readily available. I think it's best to start with the sharing the primary infusions, I call them, which is basically getting cannabis into the most usable forms for the body to start with, which are typically oils, or like a glycerin tincture for oral or water soluble preparation, or actually washing for RSO. So yeah, I'd be really happy to share any of that with people, and yeah, we're going to work out the next after the show how we're going to actually do that. But yeah, I've got the documents, so it's just a matter of getting them out there somehow.
Awesome. Yeah, that'll be really cool. So yeah, let's just do that. Let's just share it over there. We can, JR, we can start a link, or we can, you could direct us how to do that. And then you guys can all get over there and we can get something going, maybe a forum with recipes, maybe something like that. Is that how you do it, JR? You start a group? You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, there are groups over there. And the nice thing is when you like, say you're starting an edibles group, you can post your live feeds into the group. So you can do demonstrations, faceless, or put a mask on, whatever you want to do or have to do. There's also the chat function that goes along with the group as well. And you can interact with people and tell them tips and different things that they can do. And you can have links. You can post links in there that take them to different sites or different YouTube videos that direct them on how to do the preparations that you're talking about.
I just put into chat the link to CAP's Australian group. Cool.
Yep,
Yeah.
perfect. Dan, we're losing you a little bit on the audio. You're breaking up a little bit. I don't know what happened. I don't know. You might have to leave and come back. I don't know.
Is it okay now?
You might be okay.
Adjust the aluminum foil on your antenna.
Or on your head. I think you're good. I think you're good now. You're good. All righty. Okay, so did anybody have any questions for Captain Terp tonight, or does Hi or JR? Do you guys have any other questions?
What are your everywhere has hype genetics. What are the hype genetics right now in Australia, or in your area, I should say?
It's kind of hard in the prohibition land where we're kind of not able in a lot of cases to find out who's doing what, because it's a matter of you can't speak too loudly. We just didn't have the brotherhood community like the Americans did on the west coast and well, not just the west coast but the east coast and everything in between. We didn't have a shared network like you guys did over the last 30-40 years to share genetics, state to state and suburb to suburb kind of thing. So a lot of our genetics for the last couple of decades have pretty much been Holland based. So stuff people would get over in Amsterdam and bring back or send back or get shipped over here. But doesn't seem to be a lot of people holding much in the way of genetics now that they can get a lot more seed regularly now. So I seem to be one of the few people that holds much in the way of genetics. So sorry, in answer to the first question, as far as what's hype and popular that people are growing over here, I don't know. I wouldn't say there's any particular sort of bunch of flavors or there's any particular line as such that's popular over here. I'd probably grow more diverse range of varieties than most people at the moment. I've got, I think I've got 17 or 18 genetics up at the moment because we're popping some seeds and stuff for the summer season, and I'm helping some friends out and providing them with some plants. But as far as what's hype here and going on, I just don't know because people don't tell me. If you're out there in Chatland, guys, hit us up with what varieties you got and what's popular in your area, what's going on, what's rocking your world, what's fire. Be good to know.
I just find here with the stuff that I buy from, I'm still buying from. Should I say this? I'm still sort of buying from a friend, and it's always weird names. Like, and when I try to look up some of these strains that he's telling me that they are, it's like I can't find the strain anywhere. It's kind of like someone made up a name and put it on this plant and said this is what it is. But
that does happen a lot.
Yes, eh? Pardon the F-bomb, but look, the gorilla in the room. Yeah, so I don't know what half of the stuff is. I don't know if it's a sativa, if it's an indica until I smoke it, and then it's like, oh, geez, I shouldn't be going to work with this. But yeah, it's interesting. Tara,
that's too much.
Oh,
come on now. That's so good.
I would die with that thing on.
What do you mean?
I'm a little claustrophobic when it comes to
Planet
stuff.
of the Apes over here. They attacked me. We're getting ready for Halloween, guys. Woo! All right. How's it going? Everybody get ready for Halloween out there. Don't forget. All right, back to our chat. Go ahead, guys.
hey guys, yeah, I think Sorrow PB just mentioned on chat that try Seed Finder is your best reference for any information, any and all information you can find out about a variety. Seed Finder is probably your go-to place.
I would agree. They have really good, pretty accurate, I would say probably 90% accurate in what they're telling you the lineages of these strains are. I think they do their homework very well. I like them. I've always used them as a reference. I wish that they had more of a picture base to it so that you could click on the strain and see pictures. Maybe they've done that since I've last looked at it. But yeah, definitely like Seed Finder. Have you ever heard of seedsherenow.com?
Oh yeah, I've looked on Seeds Here Now a lot, but unfortunately, it doesn't. I've hit them up, and because of our illegality, basically they weren't shipping to Australia. We were one of the countries they weren't shipped to at the time.
Yeah.
But believe me, as soon as that changes, that'll be the first place I'm hitting.
Well, I know, like, so for like growers and stuff, if you've got to get grow supplies, how does that whole process work?
Well, it's kind of just an unspoken an understanding that the grow shops supply the growers, and that's it. We go to the shop, we buy our equipment, we buy our supplies, we buy our resources, and we go home and we cultivate quietly. But it's been a long time since they've tried any, well, that I'm aware of, any like green merchant type stings in Australia. I think that's exactly what you were heading at, yeah? Yeah.
That's exactly what I was talking about.
So Tara, should we start to wrap it up? We've been running for 64 minutes. Did you want to start the I don't know.
Yeah, I'm good. I think JR maybe had one more question. Did you have another question, JR? Nope. Did anybody else have any more questions? Did chat have any more questions? And we can wrap it up here.
Cap, did you want to, is there anything that was left unsaid?
Oh no, look, the conversation about cannabis never ends. So look, you could wrap it up anytime you want. I could talk till the cows come home. So
Well,
Thanks
hey,
for having me,
so
guys. I really have a great time being on with you. I really appreciate the opportunity, and yeah, I want to be part of the living cannabis community moving forward in Australia and and worldwide too. So the more we share, the more we learn, the more we love, the more we benefit from it. So
100%. You said it, man. You said it right there. And so we're gonna put a link in here in just a little bit as soon as we go off air, guys. And you're welcome to jump on. It's Zoom. It's a phone number, basically, kind of at the end. If you have it on your computer or on your phone, you can join us if you'd like to. We're gonna do this every so often. I can't promise we're gonna do it after every show, but we're gonna have a few minutes tonight. Probably, I know I can hang out for 20 minutes. So at least for 20 minutes, so we can celebrate another 420 off air. We can all hang out and smoke a little bit more together. Because I don't like to smoke a lot of stuff on there. So kind of like to hang out and chill a little bit off air. So what do y'all think? Tell everybody where they can find you, JR.
You can find me on Cannabis, J.R. Token, TOKIN. And I also have an Instagram page. And I also have a YouTube channel. I've had this YouTube channel for about 3 or 4 years now. And I teach people how to grow cannabis indoor and outdoor. Got quite a few videos. You should come and check it out. I'd really like to see you there. Thanks, Tara. I appreciate the platform, by the way.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us. I love sharing stuff with you, JR. You're so awesome. We had a great time hanging out, and I look forward to more times with you. And hi, Live for Day. We're also going to be headed down and meeting up soon down at the Emerald Cup. We didn't talk about that tonight, but hi, how can everybody find you?
Same, just put my name, Hi Live for Today. I have a YouTube account. I have Instagram, and I have Cannabis. So find me on Cannabis. I'm trying to get on Cannabis more and more, other than other forms of media. It's really a great forum. So yeah, that's me. You can find me there.
All right. And we already said how you can find Terp, and you can find him at Cannabis. And Dan, you can also find on YouTube and also on Instagram and also on Cannabis. And make sure you go and follow and go check out Dan's film. That last film is amazing. And comment. Tell him that you came and you checked it out, and that talk to him. Let him know that you like his work, or tell him you didn't. Let him know. Because people that's like the hardest thing. Like, honestly, if there's something, critique me. Please don't be afraid to say but be nice about it, okay? Please be nice. You can be polite about it. If someone's too loud, you can be polite and say something.
No, I want you to be an asshole to me.
Don't
talk dirty to me. Talk real fucking
you
dirty
like
to
it,
me.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, you can tell he's home alone. Anyways.
Oh my God.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up tonight. And I am taraleelive. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I also have an Instagram account. You can also follow me there. Please DM me. I've actually got several DMs. If there's any questions or anything that don't want to ask out in public, if there's anything that you want to ask privately, or if there's any subject that you want to go over, I've had a lot of people reach out, and I really appreciate it. It's been awesome. I appreciate all you guys in live chat holding it down tonight. You guys have been awesome. Thank you, everyone. And I'm going to put the link in here, and hopefully we'll see you in a little bit. What? Oh.
I'm saying good night to my friend Pat.
Good night, Pat.
She popped in.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Good night, everybody. Love, much love. Bye.
peace, y'all.